I've been with my wife, Jessica, for over 10 years now. We got married young, around 22, and for the most part I thought we had a pretty good thing going. We had our fights, sure, but I always believed that we were solid, that she was loyal, and that she loved me. She had this fiery personality, bitchy, manipulative sometimes, but I figured it was just her attitude. I thought I knew her pretty well, or at least I thought I did. About 6 months ago, I started noticing little things. Jessica's phone would suddenly be more guarded, she'd hide her texts better, and she started working late more often. I'd ask her where she was and she'd brush it off, say she was busy with work or catching up with her friends. That wasn't unusual, but it's the way she'd get defensive when I asked, like I was bothering her or accusing her of something. She'd snap at me, tell me I was paranoid or insecure. But I was just trying to be attentive, trying to keep an eye on things. Because something felt off. Then there were the nights she'd come home smelling like perfume I did recognize, or she'd have lipstick stains on her collar. Small, insignificant things, but enough to set off alarms in my head. I confronted her a few times, and she'd give me that typical, "You're crazy, I love you, I would never cheat" speech. She'd say I was overthinking, that I was insecure, and that I needed to trust her. But I knew her. Jessica wasn't the kind to get caught up in some random affair. She was bitchy, yes, but she was also proud, controlling, a little vain. I never thought she'd cheat on me, especially not during my own wedding. That thought just didn't sit right. And then came the moment that changed everything. I was cleaning my office one night, going through some old emails and stuff I'd kept. I found a message from her on my phone, one that she didn't delete, something she thought I wouldn't see. It was a text from a number I didn't recognize at first, but then I saw her name pop up in her contacts. I opened it, and my stomach dropped. It was a conversation, explicit, about her planning to meet someone she called her secret, and the best sex she ever had. The messages were dirty. They went on for weeks, maybe months. She was actually cheating on me right under my nose during what I thought was the happiest time of my life. During our wedding, no less. I couldn't believe it. At first, I just stared at the screen, trying to process what I was seeing. My mind was racing: anger, betrayal, sadness. She had lied to me for months, made me feel like I was paranoid when I was just trying to protect what we had. I felt sick. How could she do this? How could she screw some guy during the biggest day of our lives? And then lie about it, pretend everything was fine. That's when I knew I had to confront her. I couldn't keep pretending. I had to know what the hell was going on. When I finally confronted her, I didn't hold back. I was furious. My voice was shaking, but I managed to keep it steady enough to ask her outright. I showed her the messages I found, laid it all out on the table. Jessica's face twisted into this bitchy smirk, like she thought she was too smart to get caught. She looked at me, eyes narrowing, and then she started her usual bullshit. Said I was overreacting, that it was just sex, that it didn't mean anything. She called me paranoid and insecure, told me I was crazy for jumping to conclusions. Her words just made me angrier. I mean, here I was, staring at proof that she was screwing around during our wedding. And she's telling me I'm the one who's crazy. She kept lying, too. Said she didn't remember any messages, that maybe it was a prank or someone else trying to mess with her. She flipped the script so fast, I almost believed her for a second. But then I realized she was just trying to gaslight me. That bitchy, manipulative attitude kicked in full gear. She was trying to make me doubt myself, like I was some insecure idiot who couldn't handle the truth. But I knew what I saw. I knew what she was trying to hide. I pushed her, asking her to be honest, but she just kept playing the victim, crying fake tears, telling me I was ruining everything, that I was crazy for even bringing it up. The thing is, I felt like I was in some weird nightmare. My head was spinning. I never thought I'd get hit with something so brutal during my own wedding, no less. The betrayal cut deep, worse than anything I've ever felt before. It was like this punch in the gut that made me question everything, her, myself, the whole damn life I thought we had. I started to see her in a different light, not as the fiery, bitchy woman I knew, but as this manipulative, deceitful person who'd lied to my face for months. Honestly, I wanted to explode, to scream at her, but I also knew that wasn't going to help. I just stood there, watching her lie again, feeling this mix of rage and heartbreak swirl inside me. In that moment, I realized the trust was completely gone. Whatever plans I had to fix things, to work through it, suddenly didn't matter. All that mattered was how I was going to deal with this betrayal. I was so angry I could have shattered everything in the room, my phone, her things, anything. But I kept it together, knowing that I needed to think. Deep down, I knew that this wasn't just about her cheating. It was about her lying, manipulating, and making a fool out of me. And honestly, I was starting to wonder if she even cared about what she did or what I felt. That realization hit me hard. She didn't care. All she cared about was saving her own ass, her lies, her secret sex life. And I was just supposed to pretend nothing happened. No, I couldn't do that. I had to figure out what I was going to do next. After that confrontation, everything changed. I couldn't look at Jessica the same way anymore. The trust was shattered into a million pieces, and I knew I had to figure out my next move. I spent the next few days in a fog, anger, confusion, betrayal hitting me all at once. I kept replaying the moments, the lies she told, trying to understand how she could do this to us. I started questioning every memory, every laugh, every promise. How could she have lied during our wedding? How long had this been going on? Did she ever really love me, or was I just some fool she used? I decided I had to get revenge, but I wasn't sure what form it should take. Part of me wanted to burn everything down, her reputation, her lies, her stupid face, but another part of me knew that wasn't enough. I needed her to feel what I felt, how deep the betrayal was. I wanted her to pay in a way that hurt, that made her regret every lie, every moment she cheated on me. I started planning quietly. I didn't want her to know I was onto her. I needed to catch her off guard, to make her see that I wasn't some fool to be played. I also realized I couldn't trust her anymore, not even a little. She kept trying to deny everything, to dismiss my feelings, call me irrational for even suspecting. She kept lying, calling me insecure, accusing me of snooping. That made me more determined. I knew if I let her get away with it, she'd just go on acting like everything was fine. I couldn't let her do that. So I started digging into her phone more, checking her emails, her social media. I found more proof, more messages, more lies. She'd been seeing this guy, Ryan, for months. She'd even met him while I was away on a business trip right under my nose. I felt so stupid for not noticing sooner. All those nights I was working late, she was with him. She'd sneak around, lie about where she was, and I just kept trusting her blindly. The more I found out, the angrier I got. I was seething inside, but I kept my cool outwardly. I knew I couldn't just burst out without a plan. I needed to confront her again, but this time I'd be ready. I wanted her to see that I knew everything. I wanted her to feel the weight of what she'd done to us. Honestly, I'd never felt so betrayed in my life. It was like the ground had shifted beneath me, and I was left standing there trying to hold on to something that was already slipping away. The day I decided to confront her again, I knew I had to be prepared. I'd gathered enough evidence, texts, emails, even some photos I found of her and Ryan together. I didn't want to go in blind this time. I wanted her to understand that I knew everything. I told her I wanted to talk, and she rolled her eyes, acting like she was annoyed I was bothering her again. Typical Jessica, always making everything about her, never about how she'd wrecked my trust. When she finally sat down with that bitchy smirk, I laid everything out. I showed her the emails, the texts, the photos. Her face turned pale, then red, then she started her usual deflections. Said it was just sex, that it didn't mean anything. That Ryan was just some guy she met at work, that she was bored, or whatever excuse she could come up with. She called it a mistake, as if that made it better. And then she looked at me with this insincere, fake tears, like I was the one overreacting. She was so good at lying, so bitchy and manipulative, I almost believed her for a second. But I didn't. I knew better. I saw through her bullshit. I saw the way her eyes flicked around, the little fake tremor in her voice. I could tell she was trying to manipulate me again, make me doubt myself. She kept insisting she was sorry, that she loved me, that it was just sex and it meant nothing. She even had the nerve to throw in that I was controlling for digging into her private stuff. That's classic Jessica, play the victim, deny everything, make herself look innocent. But I wasn't buying it anymore. I was done with her lies. I told her I couldn't trust her, that I was done pretending everything was okay, and that I was seriously considering leaving her. Her reaction: she got bitchy fast. Started yelling, calling me insecure, accused me of spying on her, said I was trying to ruin her life. That's when I saw the true her, angry, manipulative, and completely devoid of any remorse. I felt this surge of rage building up inside me. I couldn't believe I'd been living with this person all these years, and she'd been hiding this secret the entire time. It was like I'd been blind, and now that I saw her for what she really was, I just wanted to burn everything down. I was so close to losing it, but I kept my voice steady and told her I was done. Done with her lies, done with her games, done with pretending I didn't know what she'd done. The emotional toll hit me hard. I felt betrayed, angry, and really hurt. But beneath all that, there was also this strange sense of clarity. I finally understood that Jessica wasn't the woman I thought she was. She was manipulative and selfish, and she'd been lying to my face for months. I didn't even know who she really was anymore. I started questioning everything, our past, our future, every moment I'd ever believed in. It was a shock I didn't see coming, and honestly, I wasn't sure how I was going to move forward from this. But one thing was clear. I couldn't stay with her, not after everything I'd uncovered. I needed to decide whether to fight for what was left or just burn it all down and start over. After that second confrontation, I knew I had to make a choice. I couldn't keep pretending that everything was fine, that I could somehow fix this. Every time I looked at Jessica, I saw the lies, the betrayal, the manipulative bitch she'd become. I'd spent days just thinking, trying to process whether we could salvage what was left, or if I should just cut my losses and walk away. Honestly, part of me wanted to burn everything down to the ground, her reputation, her pride, the whole damn relationship. I was so angry I could feel the rage boiling inside me, but I also knew that revenge in a reckless way wouldn't bring me peace. So, I decided I'd do something more calculated. I started planning my exit, but not just that. I wanted her to feel the pain of what she'd done, to see that I wasn't just some fool she could manipulate and walk all over. I wanted her to realize she'd lost everything, even if it meant hurting her in return. I started reaching out to some of her friends, people I knew she'd lied to or manipulated, and I gave them the real story. I wanted her to know I wasn't going to be the fool anymore. I also took steps to protect myself legally and financially, just in case she tried to spin the story or get revenge herself. I wasn't going to leave without making sure I was protected. Meanwhile, Jessica kept up her act, acting like everything was fine, acting innocent, even trying to pretend she'd somehow changed or learned her lesson. But I wasn't buying it anymore. She lied, cheated, manipulated, and now she was trying to act like the victim. That bitchy attitude she always had was worse than ever. She'd call me insecure, call me controlling, say I was crazy for even suspecting her. But I knew better. I knew she was the one who'd been lying, cheating, sneaking around. Every time she tried to deny it, I just smiled to myself. I knew the truth, and I wasn't going to let her sweep it under the rug. One day, I told her I was leaving for good. I packed my things, told her she could keep whatever she wanted, but I wasn't sticking around to be her punching bag anymore. I told her I'd seen enough, that I knew the kind of person she really was. The look on her face was priceless, part angry, part bitchy, like I'd just insulted her entire existence. She yelled, tried to guilt-trip me, told me I was destroying her life. But I didn't care. I knew I had to get out for my own sanity. I realized that even if she said she'd change, I couldn't trust her anymore. The damage was done. Walking out that door was one of the hardest things I've ever done. It hurt. So much to leave after everything. Our history, the good times, the bad. But the betrayal was just too much. I felt like I was finally freeing myself from a toxic, manipulative person who'd lied to my face for months. I think I knew deep down that Jessica never really loved me. She only loved herself and what she could get away with. And now I was finally free to rebuild. The pain still lingers, but I know I made the right choice. It's going to take time, but I'll heal. That's what I tell myself. I learned a lot from this experience. Trust is fragile, and some people are just not worth the trouble of fixing. Be careful who you trust. Never ignore the signs, no matter how bitchy or manipulative they seem. And most of all, don't be afraid to walk away when someone betrays you like that. Because at the end of the day, you have to choose yourself over the lies. Now that I've walked away, I find myself in this strange space between relief and anger. It's like I finally pulled the plug on a toxic relationship that I should have ended months ago, but the pain of betrayal still lingers. I catch myself thinking about Jessica, about all the lies and manipulations, and I get this burning sensation inside, part heartbreak, part rage. But I also realize I've gained something precious: clarity. I see clearly now that she was never the person I thought she was. That bitchy, controlling, manipulative woman was hiding behind a facade, and I was just too blind to see it. Looking back, I understand I should have trusted my instincts from the beginning. The little signs, the secretive texts, the perfume, her defensiveness, those weren't just coincidences. I ignored them because I loved her, because I wanted to believe she was loyal. But love doesn't mean ignoring the truth. It means facing it even if it hurts. I learned that the hard way. Moving forward, I'm determined to rebuild my life. I've cut ties with Jessica completely. No contact, no looking back. I'm focusing on myself now, working out, reconnecting with friends, and trying to heal. I'll never forget what she did, but I refuse to let it define me. I want to be better, stronger, more cautious about who I trust. That bitchy, lying woman showed me what real betrayal looks like, and I refuse to let her take away my happiness anymore. If anyone out there is going through something similar, trust me, your feelings are valid. It hurts like hell, but it gets better. Don't stay for the sake of the past or because you're afraid of being alone. You deserve someone who truly loves and respects you, not a liar and a manipulator. And most importantly, don't be afraid to walk away. Sometimes the only way to save yourself is to burn it all down and start over. That's what I had to do, and honestly, it's the best decision I ever made, even if it still stings. So here I am, standing at the edge of something new. It's not perfect, and I still feel the ache of betrayal, but I'm alive and I'm free. I've learned my lesson. Never ignore the warning signs, and never let someone's bitchy attitude or lies make you doubt your worth. Because in the end, you are worth more than any lies or betrayal. And I'm finally starting to believe that again.